What's up? Welcome back to today's live stream. I guess I decided to come back. There are a few things that I could work on, right? Like, I don't know, I can either work on my YouTube stuff or do some OS stuff, OneSignal stuff, that is. I think I'm gonna do some OneSignal stuff initially. There's something that I wanted to complete today that I didn't get a chance to complete, and it's high priority. So I would like to get this out of the way so that I can move on to the next thing for tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is spend a little bit of time working on some docs, on a doc, specifically the doc for our web setup guide. I'm going to reorganize that. So I guess I'll just jump right into that and get going. Oh, by the way, I made some changes to my mic. Maybe you could hear it, maybe not. I'm going to go back and listen to it on my own after this. One thing that I think I want to do before I move forward, though, is change my camera LUT. So I may have to create a separate profile for dark. I noticed that when it's dark here, this particular LUT is really blue. I guess I could also just change the color. You know what? Let me first play with another LUT right quick. We're going to play with that. I have custom LUT set up developed for other stuff, and I also have a LUT that emulates my Fuji camera. Although I want to build out an Eterna LUT. That would be kind of dope. Let me move this to my. Why can't I move my window? Oh well. Okay, so let's go to iCloud because I keep all my LUTs there. And we're gonna go to my film emulation. Let's try this Fuji one. All right, yeah, I think Fuji looks better at night, so we're gonna use Fuji. Other thing is, let's put on some Dragon Ball Z on my TV. So turn on TV. All right, so there we are. We got some Dragon Ball Z. It's not like you can see it for some odd reason. Yeah, I hopefully that whatever thing goes away. All right, well, whatever. Hopefully that little thing will go away. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to the screen. And you can also get a preview of what I was looking at. I was looking at thumbnails and how to increase my click-through rate. I noticed that my click-through rate on my videos is actually kind of good, but on my lives, they're really low. And I'm not sure if that's a function of this being a live stream or it's a function of I don't do thumbnails for my live stream. Right now, I'm going to assume that it's because I don't do thumbnails for my live stream. In any case, let's see what else I can get here. So let me change this because this is now done. Get rid of that color. Okay. 12, 23, 21. Move that out. Oh, well, I guess so. So we'll go to my other workspace. Oh, excuse me. Okay. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And what I need to do is conform my web quick start guide to match what I've done for iOS and Android. And I think I also kind of want to do this for mobile. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do with mobile or about mobile. Okay, so first things first, let's come into my notes. We're going to call this template. And I think I have this somewhere already, but I'm going to put it up here. So we're going to do quick start guide templates. Quick start guide template. All right. So this is ordered. So the first thing is we're going to have requirements. The second thing is going to be the setup. Okay, and then, all right, so what I'm going to say is each step should be prepended with the step number. All right, and then we're going to have a recommended section. This would be additional steps to take to enable the full OS feature suite. I guess that's it. So I am going to just put in permission and self prompt, or whatever this is, permission and soft prompting. I'm not sure if this should be called soft prompting because this is a mobile, this is web. It's a little bit different. We're gonna have identify users, set email and phone number, and then add data tags. Okay. All right, so I'm also going to come here and say we're gonna do add the SDK. I think this is pretty much the same. There are no capabilities for the web. There's going to be initialization. No notification service extension, no app groups, but there is going to be testing. There may be other things as well, but we'll get into that later. Okay. All right, I think that's decent. So we'll come back to here and let's go to readme.com to do a little bit of work there. Why is my gamma? Okay, I just now realized that my gamma was set to, all right, I gotta look at myself right quick so I can adjust my gamma and see what it's doing. Okay, I see why. Okay, yeah, we're gonna keep it at 5. And yeah, we're also going to I'm going to warm up my image a little bit. All right, cool. We're good. Oops, my bad. Went to the wrong thing. All right, so back to what I was doing. All right, let's log in. Also, let's turn down the brightness. The screen is kind of bright. It's a little late. I don't need it to be that bright. Okay. Guides. And I am looking for the web quick start, I think. Maybe I should have kept the docs open. So let's go back to where I was, so I can see what this looks like. So we have mobile quick start, and then we have web quick start. Okay. So we have custom code set up. So all of these are different. Okay, all right. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think. So how to set up your website. We have choose integration, but we have something beyond that. That's interesting. All right, so this guide focuses on a typical site setup. I wish we can, okay, whatever. I don't know what a typical site setup means. For guides covering CMS frameworks or app builders, please check out CMS SPA and app builder integration pages. Okay. What's interesting is that this says CMS, SPA, and app. I really wish we didn't like do this. Maybe we should just call this content management system and single page app. But when I look at this, none of these are single page apps. These are all CMSs, and I don't even know if there's an app builder in this. So this is a bit of a misnomer. This whole page, like everything in here is a misnomer. All right, anyway, if you haven't already, sign up for a free account on OneSignal.com. If this is not your first app with OneSignal, click. Otherwise, you'll need to set up a new page. Okay. I'm wondering if I can't even, all right, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to just reorganize this. I may have to do content too. Name your app something similar to your site, then select web from platform list. Click next, configure your platform. If you want to set more platforms. Okay, so this is more about the OneSignal side, which I don't care about right now. I care more about the development part, like what developers are going to have to do. Okay, so for developers, let's see. OneSignal Web Push Setup Guide for Websites works with all web push supported browsers. Okay. This right here is not even useful. All right, for advanced users only, I don't like that. You should only use custom code if you absolutely need it. Otherwise, we recommend using the web push typical setup or using WordPress, which I don't even know if WordPress works anymore. All right, so choose integration, select custom code if you're adding our JavaScript code to your site. Then we have our site setup. Add code to site, add your first user. I don't know how this, none of this is technical. This is all like the product, and I don't know if that's what I had in mind. Let's see. So setup, we have requirements. I don't know if there's any requirements that I have. Let's see what mobile is. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, there might be more that I have to think, that I have to think through. Yeah, so what I would prefer is to have these types of requirements and not get into like how to set up the stuff. You know, that's more of the on the web quick start, not the custom code. And then we have setup. Okay. So I think what I'm going to end up having to do here is create a entirely new doc. I'm really annoyed by that, actually. Oh yeah, I forgot I changed the keyboard shortcut. And where is this? Is it? This is the web SDK. All right, so yeah, I don't care about that or this. This is what I care about right now. So let's go to this custom code setup, and this is likely what I'm going to duplicate. Wait, wait, what? Talk about, okay, all right, so, man, I can't help but talk shit about this. This is trash. All right, why? Just hopefully someone from this company looks at this. How come when I click here, the freaking pop-up or modal or whatever this context menu is appears at the top right of the screen? Is that a bug? I'm not asking. This is a bug, and it's a pretty shameful bug, to be honest. All right, so we'll duplicate this. for advanced users only. This is a waste of space. We're going to delete that. All right, so our top level, is it taxonomy? Or I'm gonna call it IA, because I don't have a better name for it right now. IA for information architecture. And we're gonna first start off with requirements. And then we will do setup. And then I guess recommended. Recommended. Okay. So the requirements are going to be very similar to the requirements for just like iOS. Oh, do I need to save this? All right, so I need to have a OneSignal account, the OneSignal app ID, and that's it. So I'll copy that and move it over to my copy. Okay. All right, so this is going to be step one, except I'm going to move into actual Markdown because, man, I'm going to try not to talk about how much I hate this tool. I'm going to try to, I won't be positive, but I'm going to try my best to not be extra negative on this, even though I hate it. Or maybe I should, like, if I'm being forced to use shitty tools, like, it's not my fault. You know? All right, select custom code. If you're adding, okay, how about we'll just say select custom code. Choose custom code integration. Choose custom code. All right. If you're using WordPress plugin, okay, we're not doing that, so we'll just move on. Okay. Now we'll do step 2. I'm just going to move step 2 up for now. And make that a header 2. Get rid of that. And then I'm not really sure what this step 3 is. Like why this is weird. But I'm gonna move it up for now and just deal with the weirdness later. This is gonna be a H2. This was gonna be an H3 for now. I don't know, like that's weird to me. I'm not really sure what the point of that is. And let me go ahead and delete all of this. So all of these are going to get moved up one level into this section here. And this isn't correct actually, but it's a start. I just want to get the things moved over for now. Okay. All right, I won't deal with spelling or any of that kind of stuff, even though it's, yeah. All right, so we have our setup. We have step 1, choose custom code integration. We're just going to choose custom code because that's what the thing is. And this is actually, yeah, we're going to keep the word integration. All right, so this is going to be choosing integration. Web integration types. And then we'll say custom code just to indicate what's selected. All right, the next thing is we have the site setup. I kind of want to call this site setup configuration. Or configure site setup. I'm gonna call it configure site setup, like that. This message doesn't even mean anything to me. One thing that I want to check is whether or not this still even looks like this. I gotta go to my other profile here and let's log in. I'm gonna create a site, or just go away. Let's go to Devlog. Oops, settings, and where is site activate? That looks similar, I think. I'm gonna call this site setup. All right. And oh man, you know what? Before I even do this, it may be worth my time to run this through a what do you call that thing? Like a compressor or whatever, an image compressor. Is that the name of that? Where is this? Previous 30 days, January. Okay. Where did that thing just get saved? It said it was saved somewhere. Oh my gosh. Let's see where it is. Go in Finder. Why is that in my documents? All right, let's see what this is in size. 123 kilobytes. That's a little bigger than it needs to be. And it's because of the resolution of my computer. I can probably half this resolution. Actually, no, 24 divided by, I could probably divide that by 4 actually. 2408 divided by 4. Yeah, 602 pixels. I think the regular person's, their screen resolution is typically what, like 1920? So I think this would be okay. Yeah, I think if I were to scale that down by 4, that should be okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore this for now. There's a reason why. It's because, yeah, I'm going to ignore it for now. I'm going to move on. All right, we have a filled site name, site URL, the auto resubscribe, and then the default icon URL. Allows push subscribers to automatically resubscribe upon returning to your site without being prompted if they clear their browser data or if you are transferring to OneSignal from another push provider. What if? Oh, okay. Okay. Sure. Fuck it. Okay, fine. I can't. Oh, okay. I have to do shift enter. That's stupid. Oh my gosh. And I can't even navigate within the. Yeah, I said I was not going to talk shit, but man, like when your tool is just trash, it's like it's hard not to talk shit.
Wasn't trying to get my numbers up. You know I keep it cool. I prefer to stay in the cut. Don't want no.
The icon used for the slide prompt and default for push notifications. It doesn't make sense in the slide prompt and push notifications. Alright, enter an HTTPS icon URL. Does it have to be HTTPS? Or upload file that is square? This is also known with a 1:1 aspect ratio, 1:1 aspect ratio. So enter an HTTP icon, okay, whatever. The file must be PNG, JPG, or GIF. Okay. The default name to call your site used in push notifications. You never know when it's coming, but you sure know it when it does. Yeah. One thing I know about love, you might get what you ask for, so you better be sure it's what you want. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Alright, this is going to be used in push notifications. This is wrong. We need a comma for here. Honestly, when you do this, when you do parentheses, you don't really need to do that. You could just do that. So we'll do www or non-www links. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, HTTPS only. Okay. Yeah, this part right here doesn't make any sense to me. Safari custom certificate, like, I don't know. The fact that this is optional makes me want to pull this out into another place. Maybe I should have an advanced push settings. Because this isn't a step, right? Like, but I don't know, I'll keep it here for now. I'm starting to realize that like how the product is influences how the docs look, and I wonder if there are other people who work in developer relations who like, I don't know, like, what am I trying to say? It almost feels like if your docs are easy to write, then the product is built right, if that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna keep moving forward. Step 4, upload files. You need to add OneSignal SDK to your site. Okay. Click download OneSignal SDK files. Download OneSignal SDK files. We're going to, I think, emphasize this. And I also want this to be the same. So we're gonna use the same title or the same casing. And if it seems bad, well, then it's bad. Like maybe the button shouldn't be in all uppercase. Or download the files here. Don't need that. All right, and then unzip the OneSignal SDK files. All right. There should be your site. That doesn't mean, what the hell? That doesn't mean anything. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. All right, so we're gonna say place the SDK files. At the root of your site. And then you should be able to load the I think the file should be available at whatever this is. All right, yeah, so the SDK, the files should be accessible via the following URL. All right, your site name / OneSignal SDK worker. I'm going to do that and hope, oh, yeah, that may confuse certain people, so I'm going to delete it. Thank you for the like, whoever you are, appreciate it. Wait, where do these likes come from? Is this a YouTube like, or is this a, yeah, it's a YouTube like, okay. Yeah, appreciate it. I'm actually surprised that I got a YouTube like. According to my streaming software, it's telling me that no one's watching. As usual, I'm used to no one watching. so yeah, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if that's just coming in late from when somebody was watching, if anyone was watching. All right, let's pull up it here. Okay. Where was I? I was somewhere. Oh yeah, I was right here. Oh, it's you. Oh, who's you? What's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, well, it's saying that I have one viewer right now, but when I click on the little thingamajig, it's saying that that viewer is on Twitch. Now all of a sudden it's saying that I have 2 viewers on YouTube, so maybe people are actually watching, and I didn't know. Well, if you want to see some other shit, let me know. Technically, I don't have to be doing this. I'm just trying to get I'm trying to get the number of hours that I put out. What I've learned is if I do this more often, these get recommended more often. And when they get recommended more often, then I get closer to getting my channel remonetized. I used to be on the YouTube partner program where I used to get paid for this. And I'm no longer on it, and it's an uphill battle almost. Oh, all right. I just got done prepping dinner for them all. I actually just got back from getting tea. I like tea. So I went and got the mango passion, that share tea, mango passion tea with lychee, you know, and walked my dog for a bit. And I was like, you know what? Let me try to get some work done. And as usual, anytime I think I'm gonna do anything, it turns out that whatever I'm doing is much more complex or complicated than I had in mind. Initially, I was like, I'm just gonna reorganize this particular page. But now I'm realizing that I can't just reorganize it because of reasons that I won't say. I won't say, but I can't just reorganize it. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. And the tool is very trash. Like, I don't know if you see my cursor here, but it won't let me select this text, like that number 3. I don't want this number to be here. And I also can't select it with my cursor, with my mouse. So yeah, I had to like delete it. I really hate this tool, this software. But I will say that this is growth, because another version of me would straight up quit if I'm forced to use shitty software. And it's ran through my mind where it's just like, man, I should just quit. Stop using this shit. That's how you know something's bad, when like somebody would rather quit than work with it. Let's see, OneSignal SDK file must be publicly accessible and can be placed at the top level root of your site. Sure, I don't know. Add code to site. What do you mean no, this is initialize the SDK. Initialize SDK. We'll use articles here. I'm not technically writing documentation at the moment, but I am refining or editing documentation. And here I can show you like this current state of things, I think. So give me a second. Wrong one. All right. So this is the new format that I'm doing for our docs, where we have requirements and then we do set up the steps as well as recommended things, like to enable the full OneSignal feature set here. And this is what it currently looks like, or like what it was, which is just like, it's kind of, you know, well, you don't know, but if you go and look, you may have thoughts and opinions. I also had thoughts and opinions, so I'm like implementing my opinions here. So this just had like steps, and like there was not really any consistency between, you know, all of these different ones. These haven't been touched, by the way, right? So what I'm doing is going through and making sure that these all align to this new way of doing things, where, you know, we have the top level requirements, setup, and then recommended. Under setup, it'll just be the steps. I have it already implemented for Android, and the other top level one, our other native SDK, is the web quick start stuff. So I was going to this custom code, but you see it's just like step 1, step 2, even though step 3 is not even a step. Like that's another thing. Yeah, so initially I had it in my mind, or my plan, to just reorganize all of these things, right? Just restructure it and not worry about content, because if you worry about content, it just becomes an impossible task. Now it turns out that the web stuff is very different from our mobile stuff. It seems like our mobile stuff is more about how to actually do it from a developer perspective, whereas our web stuff is how to do this if you don't know anything about development. So it's kind of like a mix. It's the target audience isn't clear, which is making my life harder, because my role is a developer advocate, right? So other developers, that's who I really care about. But at the same time, like, our docs still need to be good. So like, this is a mix of like marketers as well as developers, which makes my life harder, because they're two different people. They have different needs. And this was written in a way where it's not really developer focused, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm currently struggling with here. It's the fact that this isn't really written for a developer per se. I'm not saying that it's not. Wait, you may also have other codes. What the fuck? No, don't do that. That was a mistake. Okay. So to enable OneSignal on your site, you'll need to write code to initialize. Okay. You need to initialize OneSignal. Like, the fact that this is for a developer, right? So it's like, I think most developers know that's what they do when they have JavaScript or an SDK. Like, that's what it is. right? So I am modifying content here, but this is a copy of the other page. So if someone disagrees, they can put it back, I guess. All right, so we'll see. You'll need to initialize OneSignal and add web push prompts. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. You may also have other code. This sentence adds nothing. The initialization, okay, it'll fix it for me. Look at that. I was like, that should be the initialization code. So the initialization code must be placed inside your website's head. Sure. I don't think that's true because I've done it outside of head. But whatever. If you do not have access to modify your site's code, you'll need to contact a developer to help you. Okay. I'm gonna argue that if you don't have access to your site's code, maybe you shouldn't be using the custom code option. That's my argument. All right, step 6, add your first user. That's not even a step. Go to your website. So yeah, this should really be like when you load your website, you should see this notification bell thing. And then, all right, whatever. You're having difficulty. Nope, we're deleting this. Save this for now. So I'm gonna want to create new screenshots. For one, this, I already created one screenshot, but then I'm like, I'm gonna have to do some extra work in order to, before I upload it. And here's the reason why. How do I say this? The average person's monitor is so far beneath mine. Like my screenshots, for instance, if I took a screenshot of this, and I did actually, instead of me just saying like hypotheticals, I can just show it to you. All right, so I took a screenshot of this right here, this little bit right here. Now you're probably looking at this on the stream and you're like, oh, that's not that big, but you got to keep in mind, or you didn't know this, but I'm going to tell you, I am on a 6K monitor. All right, so even though something may appear small, I have a 6K monitor, so my screenshots are going to be insanely large. So if you were to, if like I were to give you this screenshot, it may not even fit on your monitor's resolution, like on your screen, unless you had like even a 4K. This would probably take up like 70 to 80% of the width of your screen, just by virtue of the fact that I'm on a higher resolution monitor than most of planet Earth. And you got to think about this. Like if I upload this file, which is here, it's 123 kilobytes. That doesn't seem like it's very large, but let's be real. Like if we have several images, let's say let's say we have 5 to 7 images. Well, that's almost a megabyte of images that it doesn't need to be a megabyte. You have a 4K monitor? I don't have a way to send it to you. Like I don't know how to send it to you. Do you and I don't put your email address in here. Don't do that. I'm trying to think of a way that you can get this to, that I can get this to you. Oh, you know what? How about this? I will put this in Dropbox, and I think I can share a link. Nah, never mind. I might get another community strike. For it may be like I'm spamming people. Yeah, I have no idea how to get this to you. Well, I mean, it'll look good. It'll just be bigger. But here's how you could test this. Do this. If you have an image editor, I'm going to use Do you have an image editor by any chance? Like, when I say image editor, I mean something like Photoshop, Affinity Photo, or some type of design software like Figma or Sketch. I use Sketch. InDesign. Do you have any tool like that? If you have a tool like that, what I would encourage you to do is create an artboard. In fact, you could go to Figma. You can do that right now. Oh, Affinity. Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. So go to Affinity Photo. Okay, obviously, and then I opened up fucking Designer. Well, same difference. Okay, yeah. So open that up, and what I want you to do is when you one of these projects here, put the resolution 20, I think 48 or something like that. I think that's what it is. No, it's 2408 and 736. So 2408 and then 736. You should be able to leave the DPI as is, I think, because that's more of a print type of thing. So if you do that, you should be able to have it show as the actual size on your machine, and that'll show you how big it is on your machine. Right? So yeah, let me see if I can do that here. Okay. So we're going to, let's see, actual size. Yeah. So if you go into view and then you go into actual size, that'll show you what my screenshot will look like on your machine. And when you think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to upload this image to the server and then like that's what people are going to be downloading on their most likely 1920 by 1080 screen, right? Like, in fact, we can do this. We can look to see monitor resolutions, most popular or something like that. Most common. 2408 736. All right, and check this out. As of 2023, the two most common resolutions for desktop, this is desktop, not even laptop, desktop computer monitors are 1366 by 768. Now, you don't even have to look at this, right? You should, in your mind, should be like, well, 2408 is much bigger than 1366. So I hope now you can understand why I'm like, I would have to like resize the image essentially. And if I resize the image, that means that I can cut the size down by at minimum a quarter. Well, not a quarter, but like 3x, I think. And on top of that, I can also compress the image and remove certain colors. That's the other thing, is that like I'm on I think this is a P3 or higher display or something like that. So there are a lot of colors that most people's monitors can't even display. I think this is a 14-bit monitor or something ridiculous. I don't know the spec. Don't. I may be lying to you. Ignore all of that. But the point is that most people's resolution is so far beneath mine that I have to resize all of the screenshots that I take, so that if somebody were to then come to this doc, let's say for instance they're in a country like India, and let's say that our servers may not be, they might be a little bit farther away from them, even though I think we have servers in that region. That's a lot of data to download. So the end result, it will be a poor experience for our users to go to this particular document simply because I took the screenshots, right? So that's why I can't just simply use my screenshots as is. There's more work I have to do before I can just put it up there. Oh yeah, he looked at it. Yeah, large screenshot. Yeah. If you have an LG monitor, I'm curious. If you're on a Mac, do you have the LG Ultrafine 5K? Because I have one of those too. I have one. That's my vertical monitor, actually. The one that's, I don't know if you can see it here. Let me do this. So if you see that right there, this is my vertical LG Ultrafine 5K monitor. And then I have another 5K monitor off to my right, the new Mac Studio, but my primary display is the Pro XDR, which is 6K. And it's good for me, but I'm never really worried about taking pictures and it's uploading it to a site for other people. This is kind of like, I was just like, oh yeah, I had to remember that. Fortunately, I do have a tool that allows me to resize these images and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, you have that one? Yeah. So I used to have 2 of them. I sold one to my mentee actually. I told her she was getting a good deal. I think I gave it to her for like $600. I was just like, yo, I just need to get it off my desk because I have these other monitors. And yeah. So I think what could be cool is to play with this tool. There's a CLI. You had to get one with USB-C. I think your monitor is technically Thunderbolt 3. It's not USB-C. Just FYI. That's the USB-C is just a connect. I mean, it uses a connector, but you have a Thunderbolt monitor. But you're right. It does have a a USB-C hub, but it's only operating at USB 3.0. It's not operating at the USB 3.1 something, Gen 2, which is the fast one. So for me, I only use the USB ports on these monitors for like my chargers for the phone. Like my iPhones are only USB 2.0. But I have actual docks. Like I have a Thunderbolt 4 dock that it gives me 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports, and then I have a Thunderbolt 3 dock, which gives me like USB stuff, like USB 3.1 Gen 2. And then obviously the Mac Studio has 6 Thunderbolt 4 ports. So I have all that connected. And then I guess each monitor does have their own USB 3.0 hubs, but I don't use them really. Other than for like charging, I guess. Yeah. So you have a MacBook. Okay, yeah. So I'm a Mac gang too. So yeah, all of my monitors are Thunderbolt. Like, yeah. I like the LG 5Ks. Well, I mean, now that the Mac Studios are out, like, I don't know if I like it. Like, I would upgrade this, but I'm kind of waiting to see if Apple's going to release another Pro XDR display. And if they do that, I'm going to just buy another one of those. And then this Mac Studio display will become my vertical monitor. And then the XDR will become my second side monitor. Yeah, that's the other thing. It keeps your laptop charged. If you have the right laptop. If you have my laptop, which takes the 160 watt charger, it does not keep it charged. I have to keep it plugged in and with MagSafe, as well as use the Thunderbolt to keep it charged. Otherwise, it'll slowly drain. So I'm assuming that you have do you have a 13 or 14 inch? Is that what they are these days? 14 inch. By the way, we're going to play with ImageMagick, which is a tool that I have. I'm not very good at it or good with it. Let's see if I even have it. I may not even have it in here. ImageMagick. Okay, I don't even have it installed on this machine. Or maybe I do have it installed on this machine and I just aliased it to something else. But let's go to ImageMagick. Oh, maybe I just misspelled it. Let's see if that was the case. ImageMagick. Yeah, okay, no, I just didn't spell it. All right, so I don't have it installed at all. So let's install ImageMagick. The reason why I'm going to use ImageMagick is because, let's say for instance, I have a lot of screenshots, which is highly likely considering I'm taking a bunch of screenshots for docs. If I don't want to have to like open up each individual one and then go and edit stuff, like I'm going to have to automate it somehow, and this should allow me to automate it. I think all of this is installed on my laptop. That's the problem. I have more than one computer, so I never know what's installed on what. Yeah, and I do a lot more image or photo stuff on my laptop because it's mobile, which means that when I'm out traveling, I have my laptop, not my Mac Studio with me. All right, so let's install the CLI. I should be able to install this using Homebrew. Yep. Yeah, it's okay. ImageMagick. Okay, that's how you spell it. So you're a designer then? I'm curious, if you're a designer, would you ever be willing to help a non-designer, a person who I can barely draw a straight line, even using software, I can barely do it. Like, I need to get my click-through rate up on my streams, and I think that having better thumbnails could do it. And that's also the other thing that I had in mind for tonight, was just play around with building a thumbnail or something. I don't know. And I don't have many pictures of myself. That's the other thing. I don't know if I'm the right gender to have a bunch of pictures of myself. I have like a full 8 pictures out of the 25,000 images or computer or photos that I have. I only have a few of me. All right, one day this will finish. So while that goes, we're going to also install these GhostScript fonts, okay? And we're going to go to CLI. Look at the anatomy of a command. All right, one or more required input file names. So this is where I can like say, hey, here are all of my files, and I could probably use xargs to pipe those files from an ls command. So let's say I go to a directory and I list all the files. I can then use xargs to pass those files on to this command, and then pass in these settings and all that kind of stuff. So that would allow me to apply the same settings to a lot of files. You're a tinker, I'm not a pro. Well, I mean, what do you think a pro is? I'm just curious. What do you think there's a difference between someone who gets paid to do something and someone who doesn't? Because I'm just going to put this out there, and you can disagree. There are a lot of things that I don't get paid to do that I'm much better at people who get paid to do it. Simply being paid to do something doesn't mean that you're good at it. I've worked with tons of software engineers and other developers in my life, and they all got paid. 80% of them, in my opinion, are trash and garbage, and didn't even deserve to be in the same room as me. So just simply being a pro doesn't mean much to me. I know folks who shit on me and on certain things, and they're not pros at it, but no, they shit on me. And it all goes to say that, or goes to show that, just being paid to do something doesn't mean you're good. Turns out the bar is low in a lot of places. All right, so I think I should have this. Oh wow, it's still going. My gosh, I don't know why Homebrew is this slow. It's always so slow. All right, while that's going, I'll keep reading this. So 2, we're going to do 0, 1 or more image settings. 0, 1 or more image operators. 0, 1 or more image sequence operator. I don't know what a sequence operator is at all. 1 or more image stacks. And then 0 or 1 output image file names. Required by magic, convert, composite, montage. Okay. So the input file name extends the concept of file name to include file name. Oh, that's cool. So I don't even have to use xargs. It says here that I can use file name globbing. So that means that I can go into a directory and just give it a glob pattern. In this case, it would probably just be like whatever .png, and whatever's in that directory, it would process. Explicit image format using build. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, it literally has it here. Yeah. The globbing pattern there. All right. Pro as someone who has all the shortcuts and tools memorized. Oh, so that's another thing. I know a lot of pros who don't even know keyboard shortcuts. Like, that don't mean anything. Yeah. I know a lot of keyboard shortcuts, but it's not because I'm a pro. It's because efficiency is important to me. I need to do a lot of things. I need to accomplish a lot of things quickly, and I don't have time to be using my mouse for everything. I'm using it now because it's faster to scroll with my mouse than to sit here and do page up, page down. Like, I may overshoot whatever, whereas I have a lot more fidelity with this mouse. Right now it's in click mode, but if I were to take it out of click mode, look at that. I have a lot more fidelity with my scroll wheel here. All right, let's see if this is finished. Yes, it is. So let's go ahead and install these GhostScript things. Okay, okay, so it already installed it. Perfect, we're good. All right, so what can we do? explicit image format, built-in image and patterns, standard in, standard out file descriptor, selecting frames, selecting image region, inline image resize. This seems like it could be useful. All right, so it's sometimes convenient to resize an image as they are read. Suppose you have hundreds of large JPEG images you want to convert to a sequence of PNG thumbnails. Okay, so here all the images are read, subsequently resized. It's faster and less resource intensive to resize each image as it is read. Okay. I wonder what this %O3D means. That's interesting. But let's, oh, it's in the command is magic. So let's go ahead and open up a terminal and we can make this slightly smaller. We'll do this, make it smaller. And this is on my documents folder, but I'm gonna just move it here and create a new folder, and we'll call this screenshots. So yeah, we'll just call it screenshots. All right. And then I'm gonna put my screenshot in there. Site, yep. Yeah, so that's the screenshot. The one that's 24 something for a screenshot for that. Okay, sure. We can put that in there too, I guess. All right. So we'll come here. Have you ever used Image Magic at all? If not, I guess you're gonna get to see. I haven't used it in a long time. It's kind of similar to FFmpeg, and I should have FFmpeg on here, I think, because I've used it. I think I have. Yeah, I do. Okay. I'm like, I should have FFmpeg on here. All right. I'm not sure why that. Let's see, -H. Yeah. Okay, I do have it. Perfect. Okay. So first things first, let's go to my desktop, and we're gonna go into screenshots. All right, and then make this a little bit larger. Get rid of all of that. All right, and you see here if we have the image in there, so we'll go ahead and come back out, and we'll move this to here. So according to here, I should be able to do an inline image resize. So we'll do magic. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Magic. Yeah, I'm gonna have to alias this. I can't spell that. That's not how you spell magic, and it's kind of hard for me. Before I do anything, I need to figure out, it's PNG. Okay, so we're gonna do magic, and we're gonna give it a glob pattern. I don't know if I need to quote it, but I am gonna quote it, and we're gonna do anything that's in here that's PNG. Now here's the thing that's interesting. So I could do this resize thing here, but I wonder what this little square bracket thing is. What does that mean? Suppose you want to convert the sequence of PNG thumbnails. Here all images are read, subsequently resized. And it's faster and less resource intensive. All right, so what I would like to do is resize not to a, or maybe I do want to resize to a actual like pixel count instead of resize by a factor. I think I want to resize by a factor now that I think about it. So let's go to tools and see if like there is a resize here. Resize the image, adaptive resize, adaptively resize the data dependent with data dependent triangulation. I don't know what that means. Resize the image. Okay. See image geometry for complete details about the geometry argument. Look at that. So yes, I can. So 25%. I think that's what I want. So we're going to do resize. And it's actually kind of interesting that this is just a dash and not a dash dash. Typically, I would expect a longer thing like this to be dash dash and a flag to be dash. So I would expect it to be that, resize like that. Anyways, we're going to put 25%. And I need to call this the resized image, I guess. So this is going to be resized .png. Does that work? Yes, look at that. It's literally a quarter of it. So let's open that up and see what that looks like. no, that didn't work. That didn't work the way I wanted it to work. It's pixelated. Let's try that again. So instead of doing 50%, I'm going to do 25%, I'm going to do 50%. And there may be some other things that I need to do so that this is like still sharp, right? So I may be able to do a little bit of sharpening maybe. All right, so now we're going to open resize again. Okay, maybe it's already open. Let's quit and do it again. Oh, I see what. Okay, it's cool. It renamed it. Okay, I would have expected it to like overwrite it, but whatever. All right, this is good. So I think I'm gonna have to resize by 50%. And notice here that even though I resized it by 50%, the size, it's not half the size, right? So there's something else that I'm probably gonna want to do. When you look at this image, you'll see that there are not that many colors. So what I could do is I could reduce the color palette. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that because I actually have no idea. So we'll do color. Quantize color space, okay. Reduce colors using this color space, all right. This setting defines color space used to sort out and reduce the number of colors needed, okay. Operators such as colors. Note the color reduction also happens automatically when saving images to color limited image file formats. Okay. Do I just... okay, I had to go to it. Here we are. So colors, and then the actual number of colors in the image may be less than your request, but never more. Note that the color reduction option, let's see, the ordering of existing color palette. All right, refer to color reducing algorithms for more details. So I guess these are the color values that I can do. It may be worth checking. Gosh, what is the name of that thing? I have a thing that gives me EXIF data. Oh man, this is what, man, I don't even know if it's installed on this computer now that I think about it. It may be on my laptop. There is an application that gives you EXIF data, but I don't remember what it's called. So now I'm just gonna literally scroll through all of my applications and see if I recognize it. It's got an ugly icon. That's what I remember. The icon is kind of trash. Okay, I don't see it. Let's see, EXIF, extension. Oh man. Oh, here we are, media info. It's called media info. Okay, there we are. So let's open up this. So we'll open up a finder in here. All right, and we'll drag this into there. I guess it doesn't have any, okay, yeah, here we are. So the bit depth is 8 bits. We have, actually 8-bit, yeah, this is probably good enough. I don't think I need to, I mean, even if I reduce it, I would only save maybe an extra 20 to 30% on the size. And I think this 50% reduction is good. So we'll delete that. This is going to be 50% or 1.1/2, something like that. And this is going to be 25. All right, so we have 25 and then half, 50%. And then we have the original. So one thing that I probably should have mentioned is that because this is an image, which is in 2 dimensions, if you were to do this by a quarter, you're really reducing the size by 8. I hope that makes sense. Just keep in mind that images are like an X by Y. So if you reduce the X and the Y, you're really doing more than just that, because it's quadratic, right? So 50, I think doing 50% is more than a half size reduction of actual pixels or something like that. Unless this takes that into account, and unless ImageMagick takes that into account. But I think this is a decent size. the one thing that I would want to do is to add sharpening to this. So let's see if there's a sharpening filter. Look at that, adaptive sharpening. Look at that. Okay. Adaptive sharpen. Where is, okay, here we are, sharpen. And then you give it a radius. What is the radius supposed to be? Is it supposed to be 0 to 1 or like what? Sigma value is important argument that determines the actual amount of sharpening that will take place. The radius is only used to determine the size of the ray, which helps to calculate a Gaussian distribution. So I think 4 would be good. Assuming that this works like, if this is a kernel, right? A sharpening kernel. If this works the way I understand things. It should be an integer, okay? If not, or set to 0. Will calculate the largest possible radius that will provide meaningful results. All right, so let's try that out. So what I'm gonna do is take this, and I'm gonna do another thingamajig, and we're gonna add sharpen. So sharpen, and then the radius, I'm gonna put 4. Yeah, it doesn't give me any indication like what a decent radius is, so we're gonna do sharpened. See what that looks like. I don't know if anyone will be able to see this on stream, just FYI. I'm only doing in 1440p, but we're also competing with compression, as well as the fact that this is live. So like, it's gonna be a reduction in quality no matter what. Why did it create so many? Oh yes, I have a glob pattern. Oh, I'm dumb. Okay. Okay. So maybe I should delete all of these. Yeah, we'll delete all this and we'll rerun that again. So that way we only get this one. I'm gonna increase the sharpening by another amount. By 8. We're gonna do it by double. I'm gonna do double minus 1. I want a prime number. I don't know why. I just want a prime number. And this time I'm gonna just name the file directly. So we'll just take it. That way it's not continuing. It's not gonna be a glob pattern anymore. Oops, yeah, I do need that quote actually. Do that. And then this is going to be re-sharpened, and then this is going to be -1, I guess. All right. I'm not seeing a difference. So what I'm going to do is set this to 0. If not given, or set to 0. So I'm not going to give it anything. I'm going to let it determine what it should sharpen with. So we'll do 2 and see if that makes a meaningful difference. Missing argument. Okay, I guess I need to set it to 0. Because it says here that if not given or set to 0, IM will calculate the largest possible radius. It would be cool if it told me what the radius it calculated is. So we're gonna have to see if there's a verbose, like a verbose mode that tells me things, like what's happening. All right, so we have 2. There is no meaningful difference. All right, fine, verbose. All right, yeah, here we are. Print detailed information about the image when the options precede the identity option. This option precedes the identify option or info. I don't know what that means. How about this? I'm going to create a stupidly sharp, I'm going to put 100 and see what happens. So we're going to do 3. Oops. And we're going to put 100, which should be ridiculously high. And look at that. It's even taking longer to process. Oh, look at that. It's using more than one core, which is kind of cool. Okay. And I renamed it It's called 3. Oh, I don't see a difference. I wonder why. Now I'm curious. If I were to add this, if I were to open this in, let's say, Pixelmator Pro. Okay. Where are my effects? I should be able to just use an effect. Is this my effect? Yes. Let's see, add an effect, and let's look for sharpen. All right, and I'm going to increase the radius. So it works here. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. As I increase this radius, it gets significantly sharper, but it's also increasing the contrast. No, it's not adjusting the DPI. So sharpening is like, how do I explain it? It's doing something similar to edge detection and then making those particular pixels darker. And actually, you know what? Maybe it'll be useful to like just go over sharpening, like what is sharpening, image sharpening. Even though I've taken computational photography classes, at school, it's been so long. And also I don't understand it at the level where like I can explain it like I explain other things. And maybe that's an opportunity for me to like relearn all of this stuff. So we're going to do image sharpening, and then we'll do kernel. Okay. So I'm not sure how you are with linear algebra, but that's how sharpening typically works. You take a matrix and you give it a kernel, and then it's going to you're essentially multiplying that kernel for the pixels that you're at. Like you're going to do a window and you're going to move it over. That's what that radius is, by the way, just FYI. Anyway, so here he's showing, oh, this is a dope visualization. Oh, this is cool. I would love to make something like this. So it seems like they built this thing. Let me zoom in, make this bigger as well. By the way, I'm going to share this because maybe this is such a cool thing. It's worth sharing. All right, so if you hover over these are like individual pixels, the values, and you'll see here, well, maybe you don't see it because it's tiny for you, but this number is between 0 and 255. So it's really just showing you like a luminance value, like how bright this particular pixel is. There's no color information here, which makes this easier. And you'll see here that as I move it, it's mapping to what it looks like on the image. And if you add a bunch of these together and a two-dimensional array, you get what we interpret as an image. But then he's talking about the sharpening. So this is the sharpening kernel here, where we have like 5, -1, -1. And all right, so it's important to understand this. All sharpening kernels are going to look like this. But here's the thing that's interesting. Notice the shape, right? So we have -1, -1, -1, -1, and then 5, and then our zeros, right? All sharpening kernels look like this. Oh, cool. He's showing you other kernels. So here's another kernel. So a blur, you see here that all we're going to do is we're going to multiply each one of these pixels by this particular kernel. Let's go back to our sharpen now. Okay. So you see here how like as I hover here, that 3x3 grid, it's showing up here. So it's going to start at this top pixel, and because obviously you're off the screen, it's going to default to, I think, 0, which is black. Right now, there are techniques that you can do to eliminate that, and mostly it's just to say, all right, you know what, if I'm outside of the bounds of this particular pixel, just give me the average or something like that. Neither here nor there. So let's look at this kernel, and you'll see here that it selects a 3x3 grid of pixels, of values, right? And what we're doing is we're going to take whatever that value is in each pixel, and we're going to multiply by that kernel. And that's what you see here. I'm pointing here. That's what you see here, right? So we'll see here that this is 206. If we look closely here, that's 206. And then we're going to multiply that by 0. And then, this is just matrix multiplication, right? Then we're going to basically do the thing. And then 255, and that's going to be times -1. Essentially, what you're going to get is this image over here, right? So it's going to make edges darker. That's what I was trying to explain earlier, where it's like edge detection almost, or it's not technically edge detection, but like it behaves similar to edge detection. I'll just say that. And you can accomplish the same thing with something called the high pass filter as well, if you are into that. And I can show that too if you're really interested in it. So stuff like this, I would have to actually build it out before I can explain it at a level where I'm not waving my hands like I'm doing now. But hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight into how sharpening works. It's just a kernel, and we're using a window function. That's what this is, by the way. A window function is when you have something like this where it starts at this pixel and you sweep it like that, and then you go to the next one. And this is called convolution. All right, so there's your $15 word there, convolution. Here, I'll pull that up for you, convolution. I'm sure you've heard of convolution in CNNs, convolutional neural networks. For computer vision, maybe you've heard of that. Convolution. There we are. Lution with a T. All right. So the formula looks all crazy. Like, it's not that crazy, right? It's like whenever you see stuff like this, just think loop. At least that's what I think of whenever I think of convolution. But we want to look at convolution in the context of photography, I guess, or images. All right. So yeah, I think this does a pretty decent job of explaining a convolution. So you take a group of pixels, you throw it through a convolution, and then you get a new output. All right, so yeah. And let's look for sharpening here. So you see here, they're using a sharpening kernel, and look, it should look very familiar, right? Like this is a different kernel, but you see here that it has the same structure, which is -1 surrounded by the thing that you care, like the number in the middle that you care about. And if you get deep enough into linear algebra, it'll make a lot of sense why it's -1. Like that's actually how we get the edges, really. And Gaussian blur is kind of similar, except you're multiplying it by a floating point number. And because you're adding all of these things, what you're doing is you're producing an average across the pixels, which is why you get a more blurred out kind of thing. Yeah, anyway, hopefully that was, I don't know, somewhat helpful, or not even helpful. Maybe you just learned something new. A new field of study that you can go and look at. Image processing is pretty dope, to be honest. And a lot of it applies to video as well, because video is just a bunch of images in sequence. And I'm also going to add that if you understand like all of this, if you're doing this, you may find that machine learning is kind of very similar. So like, this idea of applying this kernel to a bunch of stuff and doing matrix math is very similar to what you do in machine learning and AI. And also I want to show you a convolutional neural network as well, because it's literally the same thing. It's doing a convolution, but from a neural network perspective. Here, let's look at the thing, like a little diagram. Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe we won't look at a diagram. It takes forever to load. All right, so actually, let me go to, gosh, I'm trying to think. You know what, we're probably gonna have to just go to, what is the thing called? There used to be a way in Google where you can just go to like academics. Why is safe search on? Don't fucking safe search me. Turn that shit off. Okay. What is it? Google Academic or something? academia. I don't know. Let's see if it'll spell it right. Academic search. Oh, it's Scholar. Okay, you can tell I haven't done a lot of things in a long time. I'm so far removed from school, bro. Okay, so we're gonna do CNN, or I guess not CNN. CNN to me means convolutional neural network. Convolutional neural network. Here we are. Okay, let's see. An introduction to convolutional neural networks. Can I get the paper? I haven't looked at academic papers in so long. It's been years. I don't know if I miss it. Anyway, let's see here. So this is just a regular neural network, whatever. And this is feed forward, but there's also like the what is it, like the back where you go back and you I don't know, I forgot what it's called. Anyway, let's see if they have a diagram for the CNN architecture. Yes, see, we have an input. We have a convolution and they're using ReLU, which is just a function essentially. This pooling here, I'm going to assume that this is where we aggregate results together before we do something with it. We have it fully connected with ReLU and then fully connected with our outputs. Okay. Let's see. So this is ReLU, by the way, just in case this these terms don't make sense. Rectified linear unit. I don't remember the definition of it, like the definition, like the implementation of it, but we can look. Let's see what that is. So we'll see ReLU implementation. It's pretty simple, I think. If I remember correctly, it's very simple. So it's this function here where it's like it's 0 until something really happens. That's really it. So ReLU is right here. So we take a NumPy array, the maximum of 0 or x, whatever the ReLU of x is, right? It's very simple. It's a very simple function. You know what? Maybe one day, I don't know, maybe I may get back into playing around with this type of stuff, and I can do this on stream maybe, if it's of any interest. I will admit that there was a point in my life when I really did care about how these things worked at a fundamental level, back when I was in school, as well as like while I was actively working on this kind of stuff. But as I've gotten older, I care less about this kind of stuff and I care more about a result. So like, while I may understand this stuff at a fundamental level now, like I'm just as happy to just come into my image editor like this and just be like yoink and yoink. Does it look good? Does it look good? Yes. Move forward in life. I'm very much okay with that these days. But let's add another effect here. Let's add a Gaussian blur, just so that we can kind of see like the impact of these kernels. You're not going to be able to see the actual kernel, but who cares? Like, you know that's what's happening in the background. Just imagine there's a n by m. No, it's technically an n by n. There's an n by n matrix of decimal values, and we're going to just do a multiplication. Just think of that in your mind. Don't really worry about like, how does it really work? And you'll see here how like it became blurred. And the reason why it's blurred, and I don't know if you can see this, like this edge right here, there's an edge. The reason why that's the case is because that kernel is starting at this top left pixel at 0, 0. And when you think about it, if you have a bunch of values that don't exist, you're going to get 0, nothing, which is why at the edges, it creates this boundary. Which is why often when you do a strong Gaussian blur, what you often will also do is a crop to get rid of that. A lot of, well, I don't know if a lot, but you would just do that in code, I suppose. But in this case, you could just use crop. It's pretty easy to do. So this radius is 10 pixels, right? As I decrease the radius, you'll notice that it gets sharp. And as I come to 100, it becomes just a complete blur, right? And this right here feathers a lot more. And you can still see that edge. I don't know if you see it in the stream. Yeah, you may not see this in the stream, but there's an edge, but it's feathered. All right, so yeah, there is your Gaussian blur. There's another really cool one. So all of these blurs are just different. It's the same shape, but the kernel values are different. Distortion, nope. I'm looking for a high pass filter so I can show that. I may not be able to find it here. I may have to use another, oh no, here it is. There's a high pass filter. Look at that. What did you know? So what I'm going to do is, instead of playing around with this image, we're going to open up another image. So I got to find an image to load. What's this? Oh, that's me. Okay, I don't remember taking that. Why is it blurred like that? Oh my gosh. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to use this image here, which is a print that I just recently did actually, except it's the full, this is a crop. So let's add an effect on here, and the effect that we're going to add is a high image or high pass filter. All right, and notice what happens, right? So as I increase this radius, notice that more of the image is like visible, and as I decrease it, it all goes away. So what you can think of this is that, like, as I increase this, I'm letting more energy come through, right? So let's say I did this. You notice how, like, when I increase this or have it low, how you can see like lines of contrast. You can use this same effect to sharpen an image, and it produces a different result. And the reason why that is that we're not applying a kernel. Like, this is a different way of sharpening an image. Now, obviously, I haven't. There's another piece to this in order to sharpen it, but just kind of want to show like sharpening. And what I can also do is go to a photo editor. Let's just wait. Review changes. Delete. Okay. Open up Lightroom right quick, because Lightroom has a really cool tool that applies a high pass filter. Wait a minute. Okay, confirm access. Okay, so let's say this tree right here. Yeah, let's say this tree right here. This is actually a good example here. So we'll go into editing, and if we come into the detail and sharpening here, what I can do is wait, where is it at? Here. Should be able to hit option. Nope. Wait, why is that? Gosh, is it option or is it command control? All right, now I feel like I forgot how to do this. There is a way where as you increase something, you can see what it's doing, and I can't figure out how to do it right now because obviously I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm gonna figure it out though, because I've wasted all your time getting to here. I thought it was option, or is it control? Compact. Nope. Oh, here we are. I'm tripping. All right, so I'm using CC. You can do this in regular Lightroom too. But if you click on this little thing here, this drop down, there's this masking option. And as I move it, you don't really see anything happening. But if I hold down option, you see here that it creates a high pass filter on the luminance values. So what I can do here is I can say, all right, what things do I want this sharpening filter to be applied to? All right, so let's first put it all the way down. I'm going to jack the sharpening up to some ridiculous amount, which is this. Unfortunately, this is on my computer on the stream, so you're not going to see some of the artifacts that's happening, but you can at least see that it's doing sharpening here. So what I'm going to do is change this mask, and you'll notice that things are kind of changing, right? Like everything is sharp here, but as I move this up, certain things become not sharp. So what I can do is I can hold down this option, and I can say, all right, what are the things that I want to be sharpened? So what I'll do is I'll just come here and figure out what are the edges that I really, really care about. So it's about right here. So now it allows me to add sharpening, even a ridiculous amount, without having to like screw up my image. So this is not what I was talking about earlier, where you can apply a high pass filter to do sharpening. This is just another method of like constraining where your sharpening takes place. All right, I don't know. Does that make sense? Maybe. I don't know. All All right, let's make this fit. I don't even know why that's there. This should be round right there. Yeah, anyway, so all of that stuff plays into, that's what these image editors are doing, by the way. Like, this is a raw processor. There's some other things that we can touch on here. So you see radius is here, right? So that radius is that middle value, just FYI. So as I increase this, you see that more and more things become sharp. And if I'm not careful, I can introduce like artifacts. But what's cool about Lightroom is that it doesn't allow you to go crazy, right? Like, I think maybe I can put 50 in here. Will it let me? No, it won't even let me. Yeah, so here it won't let me go crazy, which is kind of good. But yeah. So if we were to go before, okay, well, I can't do before after with just the sharpening, but you can kind of see how like there's more detail brought out after the edit. And some of that is due to sharpening. And I should be able to hold this to go back and forth on sharpening, but unfortunately, you're unlikely to see this on the stream because of reasons. But I can see it here on my machine just because of the nature of the monitor that I'm on. Anyway, that's a whole other side into imaging and all that kind of stuff. I probably don't make this clear in my streams, but I do enjoy photography. Yeah, like I do enjoy video stuff and like that kind of thing. I also do music. That's the other thing. Or never mind. I'm sorry. I used to do music. I also used to be a recording engineer and also used to be a mixing engineer, which is why I hope that you would agree that my stream's audio is pretty decent for a stream, right? And unfortunately, you won't hear it the way I hear it because, just the nature of YouTube compression and streaming. But yeah. I know that was a large tangent. No, I apologize. I'm going to share this paper for anyone who's interested. So I'll just throw that in there. That's cool, man. Looking at the bottom of the camera sometimes. Well, what's your budget? I can give you camera recommendations. I have a lot of cameras actually. Like the camera that you're looking at me on is my A7 IV. I have an A7S III right there. I have the Fuji X100V. I actually just ordered the new Leica Q3. And I was debating getting the Sony A7 R5 as well. And here's the reason why. Like in my mind, the Leica would be like a second version of my X100V, which is a point and shoot, right? But the Sony A7 IV, it's not a great photography camera. The reason why is that it has the flip out screen. It's fine for video, but for photography it sucks. Because let's say you want to shoot a portrait, vertical. Yeah. Yeah, you have to like, yeah. It's just, I don't like it, to be honest. I hate it for that. Whereas the new A7 R5, let me show you the A7 R5 actually. So Sony A7 R5. The screen articulation is better in my opinion for photography. See if I can find, here we are. So this screen, not only does it go up and down and flip out, but it also allows you to go into a portrait mode. So if you're taking a picture and you're down low, you can flip it out so you can look at it. Yeah, I mean, it's 6K. I mean, all right, so here's how I justify the 6K, right? Because it sounds like a lot, but let's be real. Sony A7 R5, but it has the same sensor, by the way. The Leica Q3 uses the Sony A7 R5 sensor. To buy this A7 R5, you're looking at about $4,000. To buy a decent lens, let's see, the closest that you can get for the Sony to this 28 millimeter that ships on the Q3 is a 30, the 35 millimeter G Master. I don't know what that costs. I actually don't have the 35 millimeter G Master because I have my X100V, which is a 35 millimeter equivalent, and I also have a 40 mil, which I prefer over 35. But I also have noticed that when I'm traveling, I normally use my A7. I'm sorry, my X100V for photography, street photography. The issue with that is that 35 is a little bit too telephoto. So if I'm in these narrow ass streets, which I'm often am, it's hard to get the shot that I want. And then on top of that, the X100V is only 26 megapixels, which is that's not bad. But if you are a crop artist like me, I like to crop the shit out of things. It's not that much room to work with. Whereas the Q3 has the 60 megapixel sensor, which allows me to crop like crazy, right? So essentially, you're getting the 28 millimeter lens, which can be cropped to 35 to 70 and on up to 90. So the way I look at it, it's like, all right, there's enough resolution for me to have 4 different focal lengths, right? And if we look at the cost of this, it's $4,000. And then we look at the Sony GM or FE 35 GM. Oh, that's not 35. There we are, 35. We'll see here that this is the closest equivalent. This is 1.4. It's $1,400, right? So when you add $1,400 to your $4,000 camera, you're close to $6,000, right? And it's like, it's also bigger. And I do appreciate point and shoots. You want the X100V? I would wait. I think the X100, I think it's going to be the X100Z. It should be coming out next year. I think they'll announce it next year. I bought my X100V the day they announced it. I didn't realize that they would go up in value. I'm not selling mine though. I actually like my cameras. So, and they all have different purposes. Just like microphones, right? Like, because they're cameras, they all have they focus on specific things, right? So the A7 IV is like a decent hybrid camera, and I say decent, it's okay. A7S III, amazing video camera, right? Not really so great on the photos, although you can get away with it. 12 megapixels is enough, but if you're like a crop artist like me, it's not enough. Here, let me go back to Lightroom, and I'm gonna look for, come on, like, do I have to do this every time? It's annoying. Okay, let's go to my grid here. Okay, so this image here. So I cropped in on this image to create this, and let's look at the size. So this was taken on my iPhone Pro, and the original size is 2813 by whatever, right? It's like 9mm, but I think this is equivalent to like a 28 or whatever. And I can only crop so much before this starts to break down and start to look like shit, right? Bro, no, I would not recommend you go buy like a Q3. I wouldn't recommend you go buy a Leica anything. If you're not into photography yet, don't. Yeah, just don't do that. If you're considering getting into photography, my recommendation to you is to buy the Sony A6400 used. Don't even buy a new one. Buy a used one. Let's see, Sony A6400. Right, so new, they're like $899, but used, I don't know what they cost. Well, I guess we can go to here to see. Nah, let's go to KEH. That's what typically I would recommend. Just go to KEH for stuff like that, if you're okay with buying used gear. If you're new, I would get a used camera, to be honest. So we'll do a Sony A6400. 600, yeah, you can get this for $600, right? Now, the reason why I say get this is because, a lot of people think that you buy, like, the camera really makes that big of a difference. The sensor is the sensor. This sensor is really good. Most of your money is going to be spent on lenses, right? So, like, just keep that in mind. Like, let me give you an idea. So I'm gonna show you one of my lenses that I have. Sony FE 7200 GM28. Yeah, we're gonna use photo. Right, so here's just one of my lenses, right? just one of my lenses may cost more. Well, this lens isn't that bad, right? This is this is not the right one. I don't have this one. I bought the new one. It's the version 2 actually, so we'll do that. I was like, I definitely paid more than $2,000 for mine. I'm looking at it, I was like, wait, I might buy another one and resell it to make a profit. Yeah, it's okay. Like, oh my gosh, I was about to be like, man, like I might have to buy that lens just so I can resell it. Cause I'm like, I paid down there $3,000 for mine. But yeah, so this lens right here is one of my lenses. The camera, this A7 IV that I'm on right now, costs less than the lens. So just keep that in mind. Most of your money is going to be spent on lenses. And because lenses are, lenses last really, really long, it's really important that you choose a system that you're willing to stick with. So it's not good to just go off and buy, all these different systems. So I'm mostly a Sony shooter, which is why I have a lot of Sony cameras. With my Fuji camera, that's the point of shoot. I don't have to buy lenses. I did buy X-T5, but I sold it after. I was just like, I don't like Fuji lenses, to be honest. Sorry if you're a team Fuji. I'm not. not when it comes to lenses. I think Sony's lenses are superior in every way. Canon is also really good, but their mirrorless system it's a little expensive, and I don't think they allow third-party lenses anymore. So I think Sony's good because you can adapt almost any lens to a Sony mount, to a Sony E mount, and it's very mature these days. What's up, MW Vanderbilt? Walt. Photography is my hobby, and I only buy secondhand camera. Yeah, secondhand cameras are decent, like especially if you get. Yeah, I would just recommend just buy used. Now, unfortunately, I haven't bought a used camera in years. Actually, I think my first few cameras were used, but nowadays all of them are new, and it's because I get the latest one and they just aren't used yet. And oh, you're in Japan. Oh shit. Oh man, you're in a dope place. Do you have like the Minolta? I seen them. So when I was in Taiwan, actually, as well as Singapore, I saw a lot of the Minolta, I think is the name. Minolta. Yeah, I saw a lot of like Minolta stuff. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to go. I was like, I thought they didn't make cameras anymore, but maybe they do. I don't know. Oh, he has one. Okay, is it a film or is it a digital one? That's one thing that I don't know if I want to get into film, because it just seems like extra work. It's already enough. It's already too much effort for me to edit any of the things that I have now. And I think that if I were to go to film, it would just be like, yeah, I would never, ever process it. Like I'm a few photos behind on my print. So I'm supposed to print a photo every year, and I haven't done that. Wait a minute, let me turn on my lights. I just realized that like I'm extra dark right now in the frame. I don't know why. Where is my lights? You know what? I'll just turn it up here. Go brighter. Oh, look at that. My stream deck isn't working. God damn it. Okay, no wonder. So there we are. Cool. So now I'm too bright. All right, cool. They shoot film. Their cameras from the 70s, and weight is like 5. God damn. Nope. I would never. So I travel a lot, and I normally bring 2 cameras with me. One of the cameras is always my A7S III for video, and I end up never shooting video. I end up never really bringing it out because it's too heavy. It's not even that heavy, but it's heavy enough to where I don't want to carry it, because I always have to have like multiple batteries, and then it's just. So I end up shooting a lot of stuff on my phone, and I've come to appreciate the iPhone video camera. Like, it's really good. At least it looks good on my iPhone. When I look at it on my computer, it looks like shit, and it's hard to edit as well. But yeah, 5 kilograms. That's too much, man. That's like what is that? 11 pounds? Yeah, I think that's about 11 pounds. And then, imagine you have to carry that on your backpack. So when I travel, like in fact, if you're in Japan, I'm actually considering going, well, not considering, I've already bought a ticket. I'm going to Japan. I don't know like if I'll move the date back, but so far the plan is to go in October. I'll be out there for maybe 3 weeks. Maybe I'll stay until stay through Thanksgiving. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, if you're in Japan, depending on what city you're in, I'd be down to link up. I'm gonna go to Tokyo. I do plan to go to Kyoto. Is it Hokkaido, whatever that place is. I want to go to Osaka. All right, let me put this on the broadcast. All right, I carry my Sony Alpha 7 II with 55 millimeter lens, film and Olympic. Wait, with 50 mil. Oh, and your film Olympus, pen 33 which shoots half frame. Is half frame? Is that larger than half frame? Is that APS-C or is, I don't know what half frame is. I know what full frame is, and I know what medium format is, but I don't think I've ever heard of half frame. One camera that I would I want an X-Pan. Have you heard of that? The X-Pan? Going back to South Africa for the month of October. Man. Oh wait, you're South African. I've never been to South Africa. Although I met a bunch of them while I was in Kenya for the AI or machine learning AI in Daba, and they were like, "Oh, you should come out and visit us." And I was like, "Yeah, I will." So I do plan to go to South Africa. I love the music out there. I do like the food. I will admit that I've never met. I don't know if you look like me. I've never met South Africans that look like me. These South Africans are a little bit brighter than me, if you know what I mean. But yeah, if you're I guess native South African, that would be dope. You would be the first one that I've met. That's cool. Dope. 36 millimeter film, shoots 2 frames per shot. All right, let me look at this half frame, see what this looks like. Also called single frame or split frame, compatible with 35 millimeter. Okay, more technically 18-24 millimeter. Okay. Oh, so it's film. Okay, I see. Okay, so I will admit that I got into photography via digital photography. My first camera was a digital camera, and I never went back and learned the film stuff. Although I will say that I do appreciate the look of film, which is why some of my photos, what I'll do, I haven't done it on this one yet, but what I would like to do on my photos, for instance, is in this effects here, come down and reduce the clarity, and it seems to give me that kind of look, and I'll normally balance it out with this texture, and I add grain for that reason, and also a slight vignette, and I think it does a pretty decent job of making it look film-like, I guess. I don't know why the fuck this keeps going. Why is that there? All right, yeah, so I normally use a color profile for a specific look, and I like to come into here and go to this right here and basically what do you call it, crush my blacks, because I think that's the look that you get on cameras, right? You crush the blacks, maybe bring down these shadows that don't really matter that much, and then maybe increase these highlights, and I think that looks pretty decent. So this is the original iPhone, right? And then this is after an edit, and I probably end up doing more stuff to get into get that film look or whatever, but I really appreciate the film look, and that's one of the reasons why I love my Fuji. So I guess it's for you, Hoosier. If you want a fun camera and you don't want to go the Sony route, which I am Sony team, but I'm also Fuji team. The Fuji XE20, I think, or is it XE2? I don't remember. Fuji XE20 or something like that. Yeah. It's XE20. So this is also a decent camera, and you can get the latest one if you really want. But it's just X20 now. But the reason why I say consider this is that Fuji has something called film emulations. So if you are the kind of person like me, where it's you just appreciate just taking a picture and moving on in life, this is it. Really, with my Fuji photos, mostly all I do is I'll crop. I do shoot in RAW and JPEG, but like even then I rarely go back and edit. So like Fuji, for that, if you're just looking for that, it's a dope system. Also digital born siblings got me into film, and my Pen 33 is all automatic, no batteries needed. See, that's the thing that I would love about like yeah, I would love that, like not having to have all these batteries. So it's more about teaching me composition, since I prefer telephoto lenses. Oh, dude, so I know a little bit about composition, you know, if you want to. In fact, all right, so given that you're into composition, I'm curious, would y'all be willing to critique this photo here? Well, not this. Let's go to, I don't know, do I have a better photo? Let's go to the photo that I printed recently. Obviously, I'm not going to find it. Actually, this photo here, what do you think of this composition? I haven't edited this, so like don't look at it as like, oh, this is edited. This is straight out of the camera. The X-T4 is dope. Yes, I would. Well, the sensor is dope. I would say the X-T4 is more for video. I would go with the X-T3, not the X-T4. The X-T3 or the X-T5. So I had the X-T5 for a little bit, and the reason that I loved it is that it had the flip out screen in portrait mode. Like for photography, like you got to keep in mind that if you're out and about and you're doing street, I don't know if you're going to do this, but I'm assuming you'll do street photography. The last thing you want to do is like increase the width of your camera by basically double, and it becomes like really obvious that you're taking pictures of, you know, whatever. Whereas if you have like just a screen that doesn't flip out but, you know, flips up or whatever, you can hold it down here and like at your waist, and you can take shots and nobody really knows that you're taking pictures. So yes, the X-T4 is a good camera, but I don't think it's great for photography. For that, I would go with the X-T3, which fortunately that would save you money, you know. But that's if you go with Fuji, right? Fuji lenses, the focus is trash. Like they're kind of loud and they're not that fast, and also they're old. It seems they don't really update their lenses. I think some of their lenses are 8 years old now, and the age does show. So that's my one gripe with Fuji, and that's really why I returned my X-T5, was that the lens situation just wasn't what I was after. And you know, the lenses are smaller than full frame lenses, but you know, like the quality of them aren't the same as my Sony lenses. So it almost begs the question of like, why even have the Fuji stuff? Yeah. Oops. See, I'm the kind of person that'll take pictures of this and then I'll figure out a way to edit it. So for instance, I told you I'm a crop king. That's what I do. I love cropping. But I took this on my iPhone, unfortunately, which means that I can't really crop this that much, right? So like, let's say for instance, I don't care about any of this other stuff, and I really only care about Wi-Fi and the phone here. Let's just pretend that I only care about that little section here. Well, if I were to really, really crop into this and then, you know, show it all, like it'll become very, what's the word? Distorted. Not distorted, but like it won't look that nice, I guess. Right? Like how you see how as you zoom in to here, like it becomes pixelated, and the reason why is that there's just not enough pixels. So maybe this right here would be my composition. I don't know, maybe not. Get the trash on it. Let's see. Let's edit the composition. Get that trash. Get the free Wi-Fi available, and come down a little bit more. I kind of want that symbol there too. All right. Yeah, so it becomes kind of crispy looking, right? So the reason why this is crispy looking is because I took this, I didn't take this in RAW mode. So the new iPhone, which I think I shot this on, this was the 14 Pro, I think. Yeah, this was the 14 Pro. When you shoot in RAW mode, it does do the 48 megapixels. But when you don't do in RAW mode, it does pixel bending. So you only get 16 megapixels. And you know, 16 megapixels is enough for printing, right? Like you only need a few megapixels for print. But if you're a crop king, like if you just believe in cropping the shit out of stuff, like I do, then you want something with a little bit more resolution. So if you are looking at a camera, I would recommend you find the camera with at least 24 megapixels of resolution. That'll allow you to crop about 2x. And when I say 2x, I mean you're throwing away half the pixels. That's what I mean. And you'll still come away with a very good shot. If you're printing, maybe you're not interested in printing. If you're only going to show it on Instagram, I think you only need like 1 or 2 megapixels, because Instagram is like 1080 by 1920. So you don't need that much resolution for Instagram. But if you know, like high resolution stuff, and you care about sharpness and just like all that kind of stuff, then you want something with at least 24 megapixels. My Fuji, let's see if I can pull up some Fuji stuff. You don't do social media? Well, I mean, you may. Like, I don't really do social media either, but I do share my stuff on social. Let's find the camera. So you can see all the cameras like all of the cameras I've used, which is a lot, right? Let's see. Where's the Fujis? Here we are. Fuji X. No. I should have an X100V on here. Where's my Fuji X100V? Here we are. There we are. I'm like, I see an X Pro, my X Pro 3 and my XT5, and then here. Okay. All right, perfect. Yes. So this right here, these images are 26 megapixels. So let's come in here. This one, right? So here's why 26 megapixels. It's decent, but you know, like let's say for instance, I wanted to crop in on like this woman here and that structure, right? So come here and do that. Get the composition right. I want her kind of like on this third-ish. Make it a little bit bigger. We'll get a little bit of that too. Right, so let's say this is my composition, right? Well, again, right, like because I have 26 megapixels to work with, it doesn't just fall apart. Although it's still not great in my opinion. Let's get this a little bit better. A little bit more room. Also, let's change, we'll do 4x3. And honestly, you know what? I don't even think I want that over there. That pillar isn't really doing much for me. So we'll come here and do that. All right, so now we get this composition here. And if I were using my iPhone, which only has 16 megapixels, I wouldn't really be able to do this. You can't see this on your computer because this is going through a stream, but I am starting to notice that it's a little bit, you know, pixelated. But just keep in mind, I'm on a very high resolution monitor, so I can see. I have a second IG account for my photo shoot hobby, but gotta bounce at the office now. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you joining. I hope you subscribe, follow for more. You know, yeah, appreciate it. But yeah, who's here? If you end up getting a camera, like let me know. Like I'm happy to, you know, we can hop on stream sometime and I can show you how to use these things. Maybe you already know how to use it, but you know, photography is. Let's just say that it takes a while. For photography. I'm about, I don't even know, like I think I got my first camera in 2006. What year is this? This is 2023. I can't even do math, but that's how long I've been, you know, doing this. And even then, like I don't think I'm that great, to be honest. You know what? I don't like that composition. I'm gonna do this. I prefer this composition right here. I don't want that background or that foreground there. Get rid of the foreground. All right, so now I have this composition here, which I think is better, right? And let's make it a little bit more dreamy looking. Add a little bit more texture. All right, don't need any of that. Add a crop or a vignette, I suppose. Add some grain. Get my exposure right. I do want to add a little bit more contrast. There wasn't much. Highlights are fine. Shadows, I'm gonna crush the shadows just a little bit more. Whites, bring it up just a little bit. do want these blacks to be crushed just a little bit more, and then we'll do a little bit of this. So we'll pull that down. And I don't know how I ended up starting doing like image editing, but hey, this is where we are. All right, yeah, that looks better. So back and forth. Yep. Color. We'll warm it up just a little bit, and then add a little bit of magenta or green. I kind of like magenta a little bit, so we'll magenta it up a little bit. Increase saturation in the areas that matter, reduce it in the areas that don't. And then from here it's just like, you can add a color grade, that kind of thing. Okay, I can't use that denoise, that sucks. I bought this book, been reading before buying an expensive camera. What book did you buy? I do have a recommendation for a book if you're interested. It's I think it's called Stunning Digital Photography by Tony Northrup and his wife. SCP. Okay, let's see. Our books. Stunning Digital Photography. So this book is pretty good. He also has a YouTube channel, right? You can go and read all that or watch the videos and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, I think the best way to get into photography is buy a camera or use your phone. That also works. If you have an iPhone, you have an amazing camera. Like, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, I have a lot of photos that are my iPhone. So that should tell you that it's not that bad. I'm gonna move this a little bit. I'm over here thinking about this composition. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna improve that composition a little bit. There we are. All right, yeah, cool. And yeah, so let's go back to some colors. You can add a color grade. So like here, my shadows, for instance, what do I want to be my shadow? I can like make it blue, purple, magenta. That looks decent right there. So I'll just back it off a little bit. Highlights, I kind of want to do the opposite of that. So I'll maybe do a little bit on the complementary color right there. Yeah, about right there. Yeah, crush the blacks more. Bring this up a little bit more. And then I can come up with like, what tint do I want here? I think that's fine. Bring up the midtones. Oops, sure. Yeah, there's not much color going on here, by the way. And then after here, I guess, just add in a little bit of masking, I suppose. So let's do a subject. Let's see if it can detect that this person is the subject, or if it's technically this structure is the subject, but I want to know what it's going to try. What is it going to give me later? Don't give me that, okay? Got it, okay. I guess it couldn't come up with a subject. Whatever, all right. So I guess I will do a linear gradient down here. And what I'm attempting to do is like, where would the light be darkest, right? So I remember what the sun was, so it was like this. So we'll just do that right there, and then just decrease the exposure by 1/4 of a stop. All right, bro. Have a good night. And yeah, you can check out the VOD if there's I'm gonna edit this photo, so you can check out the VOD for more. Appreciate the conversation, and I hope to see you next stream. Yeah, and it's good. I like when people learn new stuff. That's actually the whole point of this, is people can learn something, whether it be, I don't know, it's all tech shit to me, right? Like whether it be software, music, audio, I guess we say audio, photography, video, it's all tech in my opinion. But yeah, so I guess there's an edit in just a few minutes. I don't know if I would use this, but I am going to rate this a 3, a 3-star. Maybe it's between a 3 and a 2, so I'm gonna keep it at a 3. All right, let's go ahead and close that out. All right, yeah, so sorry everyone else who's like, oh, I thought you only do coding shit. I don't, but in the future I'm probably gonna start moving away from coding, because I'm noticing that the engagement on coding is quite low. I don't know if people actually want to see me work like that. So I may start doing more just what you're seeing, right? Just talking about other shit. Also news. I'm not going to do it today because it's late, but there's a lot of current events, and I do intend to start talking more about that kind of stuff in the future. But yeah, if there's anyone here and you're like, oh, like photography, I want to learn more about it, I highly encourage you to subscribe or follow me on well, subscribe to YouTube really, but feel free to follow me on Twitch if you like. But leave a comment, you know, like drop comments in the VOD. I will see them. It's not like I get a lot of comments, so I'll go back and look at it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I don't know if I want to spend more. Like, I'm already at my 2-hour cap. I'm 2:14. So if there are no other questions, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. I appreciate you if you joined so far. Please give this video a like on YouTube. You know, if you're on Twitch, go to YouTube, please, and give this a like. It really does help. Anyways, y'all have a good night. Peace.